Hi, my name is Kasia, and I welcome my guest Marianne today. Hello, Marianne.
Hi. Hello.
It's absolutely wonderful to share this video with you. So, in this video, Marianne will be sharing her experience about water fast. So, before I start really asking you questions, let me just explain and share something. Not
Mm-hmm.
long time ago, seeing how people respond to water fast and how many people are still literally fear of going into that experience. I was
Mm-hmm.
guided with a different approach to water fast. And because many people associate probably still that they literally deprive themselves of food, like they need to give something away in order to simply just stop eating even for a day. And for many people, this is still not available. Like they still cannot imagine how
Mm-hmm.
they could possibly just stop eating and just drinking water for a day.
Mm-hmm.
So I was guided with this different approach that when we take a bath in the bathroom, we feel really refreshed, we feel really clean. There is something really relaxing about that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's exactly the same when we drink water. This is like the internal inner bath that it's very
Mm-hmm.
empowering and it's very relaxing. So I decided to call water fast instead of water fast, water feast, because it really
Mm-hmm.
is like this. That's a completely different approach. We are not really depriving ourselves of anything. It's actually the way around. We are really empowering our body because water fast is really the most powerful way to support our system. And it's not
Mm-hmm.
only the physical body, but it works on all levels.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to water fast, it has been known literally since humanity on this planet, and it has been practiced since then. It's nothing new. It's also very present. It's practiced also in many religions, and there is a great reason for that. And I'm also aware that more and more people choose actually to support themselves, uh, going for those breaks when they decide just to give the body the chance to uh, cleanse itself, to repair itself, and to heal itself, because only the body knows how to do this with its
Mm-hmm.
own intelligence and wisdom. It just knows the best when it doesn't need to digest, when all the energy can be directed into a self-healing process. This is where the magic starts and happens.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to experience that powerful self cleansing, self healing process and that magic to happen, we need to literally just offer our body, our system, the chance to do this. So
Mm-hmm.
even taking one day or even literally 24 hours, it's just an amazing really way of supporting our system.
Mm-hmm.
So we will be using probably that term water feasting because I know Marianne really likes that. So Marianne, you've shared with me that you actually started quite early in your life with
Mm.
approaching first water feasting, which was very impressive. Like I was really
Mhm.
beautifully surprised how early it started. So, could you just share, in a general way, like how it all began really for you?
Well, I was interested in health even in high school, and I read a book called Sugar Blues, which talked about how dangerous sugar was to us, processed sugar, but how, um, for financial reasons, they just ignored all that and pushed it through. So that book influenced me quite a bit. And I think in high school, I stopped eating meat and then dairy. And I did experiment a little bit with 1 day fasts here and there.
Wow,
Yeah, but
that's
not too much.
incredible. That's
Not
incredible.
too
So
much.
early.
Yeah, yes. Um, but I didn't do things perfectly back then. Maybe I gave up beef, but I was still eating chicken. And then I read about the effects of dairy. And then I think in college, I became more aware of at first it was for my health. And then I became aware of what we were doing to farm animals. And then my consciousness was more about, oh, not eating meat at all and becoming vegan for the animals, primarily first, and then
Yeah.
my health was secondary. So I did a 2 week water fast with maybe about 20 or 25 years ago with um, Herbert Sheldon's relatives. It
Wow.
was Vivian Vetrano was his partner, and she lived in Texas with her daughter Tosca Haig and her husband. I forget what his first name was, but they had a place called the Royal Retreat. And I was still working then, and I must have taken time off from my business and went down there and water fasted for 2 weeks. It was over Christmas. So it was probably about 25 years ago. And
Wow.
I always look back at that experience as one of the best experiences of my life, truly, because as
Mhm.
an adult, there's so much responsibility in your life in every way, in the
Yes.
outer world. And we have an inner world too that gets squashed because we're so busy concentrating on our outer world. So it was an experience of having absolutely no responsibility in any way, which is so rare. And
Yes, that's true.
that allowed the inner experience to become more prominent, which was a beautiful experience
That's
because that is who
wonderful.
we are. That is who we
Yes.
are. Yes.
Yeah, totally. So, Marianne, that's wonderful. Would you be able to share how that experience really impacted you? Because that was 2 weeks, and was that the longest you've ever experienced, I guess? Yeah.
That was the
Yeah.
longest.
So, how did you feel really afterwards? Like, if you want to share in a general way about the experience, like experiencing actually that 2 weeks, that would be
Hmm.
great. But I'm also curious how it really impacted you afterwards, because that's really what we feel, what happens next, like even the refeeding process,
Hmm.
uh, and how what really happened afterwards? Like, did you still practice water feasting?
Um, I don't think I did much because I had a mortgage brokerage business and I was very, very busy.
Oh,
And I had 3 dogs. So life pretty much took over for me.
yeah.
Um, Maybe occasionally I would on a Sunday, but not on a regular basis. It wasn't until I retired that with my most recent dog, who I rescued 8 years ago, and I feed him a natural hygienic diet based on his species specific diet, I will fast him every Sunday for 42 hours. So
Wow,
I
that's
would fast with,
incredible.
yeah, I will fast with him at that time. So not till that happened did I start doing it again on a regular basis.
Yeah. So let's go
Yeah,
back just briefly to that 2 week
2 weeks.
experience.
Hmm.
How did you feel really during that water fast and then afterwards?
During the water fast, I had a lot of healing going on. I spent a lot of time in bed. I felt dizzy if I got up too quickly. I didn't have a lot of physical energy. It was difficult to even take a shower. I didn't take many because I didn't trust myself in the shower. It was a little
Yeah.
wobbly. I didn't sleep very well, not consistently through the night. So I could tell that there was a lot of healing going on. They say when you water fast that the body heals things in its own time in areas that you have had issues with. And
Yes.
as a kid in high school, I used to get a lot of bladder infections. And lo and behold, when I was doing my 2 week water fast, I got a bladder infection. So that was a little bit uncomfortable, but I guess that's what happened. So physically, I think there was a lot of healing going on. Emotionally, I had a lot of presence. I was very in the moment. I was very in my body. Um, I had a lot of clarity.
Yeah,
That was a beautiful experience because it's very fun to be so present.
totally.
Um, Let me see. I took a few very short walks. The world looks beautiful, I think, when you're fasting, more beautiful than when you're not because you're so present. You're just
Yes.
looking at everything like, wow,
In a different way
wow.
completely.
It's
Yes.
a totally different perception. You're right there with everything. You can almost see things breathing. It feels like the trees and yeah,
Yes.
it's so pretty and the colors are so vibrant. So, um, that's a nice experience.
So let me maybe
Yeah.
jump for a
Mhm.
moment, just responding to what you shared, how you experienced.
Mhm.
So it is actually recommended very much when we go, particularly for slightly longer water feasting, to really rest, because this
Mhm.
is extremely supportive for the entire system,
Mhm.
because every activity requires energy, like whatever we do,
Absolutely.
even taking a short walk, it still
Exactly.
requires energy from the system.
Mhm.
So some people feel maybe slightly more energized, but
Mhm.
some people need to rest like literally all the time, and this is absolutely normal.
Mhm.
So I just want to really share here that everyone, without exception, will experience something like this very individually. So
Mhm.
I just wanted to basically say that Marianne is just sharing her own individual experience. It doesn't
Mhm.
mean that anyone will experience that in exactly the same way. Probably not.
Mhm.
There might be
Mhm.
certain symptoms, certain things that will be similar, but it's like we are experiencing life generally in a very
Mhm.
individual, unique way. So this is
Mhm.
exactly the same when it comes to water feasting.
Mhm.
So, I just want to also clarify, we are not giving any advice here. We are just simply sharing just
Mhm.
Marianne's experience.
Mhm.
That's wonderful, and
Mhm.
I also want to just share that when it comes to sleep pattern, yes, that completely changes. Like we are
Mhm.
really in a different state, let's say,
Mhm.
uh, and this is absolutely normal because the body is not digesting any food.
Mhm.
and the body requires actually the most energy for digesting. And the
Mhm.
heavier food, the more energy and the more time is required. So when there is no food to be digested and then
Mhm.
obviously assimilated and metabolized, that body is free, and that's why it can dedicate all its energy to the amazing, empowering self healing. And it's
Mhm.
exactly what you shared. What needs to be done, the body knows how to do it. Like
Mhm.
we literally don't have a clue. Many scientists attempt to do this, but actually there is still not much really knowledge about this, what
Mhm.
actually really happens in the body.
Mhm.
So that's wonderful. And how did you feel afterwards?
Well, they took us out to a few attractions afterwards. We went to what is famous in the River Walk in San Antonio. And I, there were two of us there. I felt like a stranger in a strange land because I don't know, everything seemed so different. Um, but we stay an extra week for the refeeding because the refeeding is very important.
Yes.
And and we were fed very small quantities of food at first. At first, we had a little bit of watermelon. We weren't allowed to have oranges till the third day. And they did take us to Whole Foods so we could get things there. They, of
Yeah,
course, had food there. I think it was a nice experience to have somebody supervise your first long fast so that you don't
totally.
have to worry about a thing. And having my own mortgage company and being in such a type A field, they really try to keep you in bed because coming from that experience for me, my mind is used to moving too quickly. I'm used to doing too much. And they were really attempting to get you to slow down in every way. Just like you said, everything you do takes energy,
Yes.
and and that was helpful for me too. Um, so the refeeding process was really, wonderful. That first bite of watermelon is unforgettable. It's amazing. It's the best thing you've ever had.
Yes. Totally
And
agree with that.
yes, and so you refeed for a week very carefully, and I think some of my health issues after that, going back to my home, were so much improved. And I was a raw foodist then, so I was eating only uncooked food. Mostly, I was eating in the style of 80-10-10, which is 10% of your calories from fat, no more, 80% from carbohydrates, and 10% proteins, roughly.
Yes.
So mostly you're eating fruit and leafy greens and maybe a little bit of nuts and seeds or maybe a
Yeah.
little avocado. So that was primarily my diet. And after the fast, I think that cravings are lessened. You're not so inclined to eat things that wouldn't be as supportive to your body, whereas before the fast, um, things looked better to me or I craved more things. So that helped with the cravings too, to do that water fast. It helped support me
Yeah.
in staying on my raw food diet.
Yeah. That's something really important what you've just shared. And
Hmm.
this is also what I share with many people, that in terms of experiencing cravings, I mean, there are many reasons about cravings, and I'm not going to really focus on that. But
Hmm.
also, one of the reasons is that when we have that toxicity, that toxic waste in the body,
Hmm.
which attracts also parasites, worms, they're just living
Fungus.
Yes, they are
Yeah.
living organisms. They feed,
Mhm.
they eliminate. It's just simply the way it is. But they also create those cravings. So
Mhm.
when we cleanse the body, it's a lot easier to start eating in a clean way, like you've described, because
Mhm.
the body is basically cleansed from that toxicity, at least in some ways.
Mhm.
So it really works like a reset button. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just like magic.
It is. I agree. Yeah.
So what happens after that? You've already shared that the work basically, the very busy lifestyle took over.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm gonna maybe just jump now what happened just recently. So you've
Mhm.
also shared with me that you did start, and you've also shared that you did start also water feasting with your dog at some point
Mhm.
when you decided to basically offer your dog this really
Yes.
wonderful lifestyle.
Mhm.
But then you stopped. Could you
Mhm.
just share maybe in a brief way, like what happened and where we are right now?
Mhm. I bought an espresso coffee machine for my guest house for my tenants, and I started trying the coffee, and it was so good. I decided to get one for myself. And for some crazy reason, I started drinking coffee again, and then I was hooked. I would just have 1 cup a day, but it was enough to keep me from water fasting because when Sunday came, when I woke up, I needed that coffee. And so every time I thought I'm going to fast with my dog, I think, no, I'd rather have the coffee. So I was
Yeah.
hooked. Yeah, so it was unfortunate. I did scale back and start drinking a mushroom coffee that only had 30 milligrams of caffeine, but I'm very sensitive to caffeine. And even the littlest bit, I'm hooked. I I
Yeah.
kind of love it. But not now. Now that I'm off of it, I can't even imagine it. But once you're drinking it, so that interferes with water fasting. You know, you
Yes, of
can't have
course.
obvious addictions like that and just drop them and water fast. So that's where I was before I met you. And I was occasionally eating cooked food from the Whole Foods food bar when I would get a salad at night after work, or I was very tired and hungry, and I pick up some cooked zucchini or maybe some sweet potatoes or a few olives or just enough things to throw off my system, which it really does throw off your system. It
It does.
totally makes you slowly dull and tired. And it's not just a one off because the minute you do it, you think you're going to do it the next time too. It wasn't that bad. I
Yeah,
got away with it.
yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
it's enough that you go for one bite and then
Yeah.
it's going to evolve in another one, another meal. Yes. It's
So,
basically the addiction. That's how addictions work.
yes. So it really derails you, I would say. And you just have to stop it and get back on. And so I was doing that quite frequently. Not every day, maybe a couple times a week, but enough um, that I had cravings again. And it was disruptive to my blissful lifestyle of fruit eating.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so
when
you've
I,
so you've
yeah,
joined recently the 90-day
yes,
holistic detox program.
yes, yes.
And
And that's
what
where I
happened
was when
then?
I joined.
Yes.
Well, I joined late. I joined the 10th, and you said it was okay because you started the first. And I just saw it and knew I needed something because I wasn't doing it on my own. And it was getting to the point where I was thinking, am I just going to be this kind of eater now forever? You know,
Yes.
I needed some sort of support. I knew I did. So I jumped in and right away, the first weekend, you said, I invite you to do a 3-day water feast for the new moon. That was like 3 days after I started, and I said to you, "Oh, I couldn't do that. I have way too much paperwork to get done this weekend." It might
Yes.
have been. And you said, "Try to do 1 day."
Yeah.
So I ended up doing the 3 days, and it was quite helpful because it was, simultaneously when I gave up the caffeine. So for me, the first water fast after a long time, I had more symptoms than I normally do for water fasting because I was detoxing. I was
Yes.
more tired. I spent more time in bed, and I was detoxing this coffee out of my system. So I would have been tired with that anyway. So it was a great time to do the water feasting
Yeah. Just
because
rest basically,
just
and just
rest.
do this.
I did the minimal possible. Even I did drive to Costco to get a watermelon before it was going to be over, and even that was a push back then because my body felt a little weak, and if I
Yes.
got up too quickly, I was dizzy. I did manage to do a little bit of yard work that I had to do, but I did it very slowly. It was a nice experience too because it slowed me down. It put me in the present moment. It made me more connected to myself and my inner self. And I enjoy that because I'm always so much in the world. So it was a nice experience as well as a very restful experience.
Yeah.
And I think I went to work Monday morning still fasting. Oh no, I think I broke it Sunday night before work. So that was my first experience with water fasting with you on the 90-day detox. And then since that, I think I've done 4 more 3-day water fasts at least. I haven't kept
Yes.
track. And then I did a 3-day with a little bit of watermelon so that I could work the next day. And then 5 days straight after that. So almost 8 days with that little break.
Yes.
And that was wonderful. And going forward, I'm just doing Sundays for 42 hours with the dog, except for on the new moon and the full moon. I'll do 3 days.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So you
Yeah.
are now synchronizing with your dog
Yes.
on basically on a regular basis and just
Yes.
doing this. I mean, isn't that amazing that you can
It's
actually
very
do
nice.
this together?
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. It's very nice because a lot of people when they fast their dog, they become fearful. They think, "Oh, the poor dog." But when you're experiencing it at the same time, you know that it's nothing to fear. That it's good for
Absolutely.
him. Yeah, and occasionally he'll look to me for food at 24 hours, and before I was doing it with him, sometimes I would cave in. I'd say, "Okay," but now I never cave in because I'm fasting with him, and I just say, "It's not so bad. We can make it till the morning. We're water feasting. Let's just go to bed."
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah,
amazing that you
yeah.
can actually share that experience together. That's
Yeah, it's nice.
absolutely wonderful.
And he's so healthy. Yeah.
Yes, of course, eating
Mhm.
fruit and only just, having meat once a day. I mean, how
Once a
amazing.
week. He eats meat
Sorry,
only
once a
once
week.
a
Yeah,
week,
once a week.
sometimes
That's what I
twice,
wanted
but
to
usually
share.
once.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
And you also shared with me that most of the fruit he actually eats from your garden. So
Yes.
what a lucky dog.
He's a lucky dog. He eats
Yeah,
mulberries, mangoes, bananas,
yeah,
black
that's
sapotes, jackfruit.
brilliant. Wow.
He's a
Most
happy dog.
Many people don't have a chance to eat those beautiful fruits.
Yeah. Yes, he's
So
lucky.
Marianne,
We're lucky.
yes, that's wonderful. I'm so glad.
Mhm.
I'm so
Mhm.
happy. So Marianne, you've also shared with me how water feasting really supports you in life, and this is what I would love to really ask you.
Mhm.
Uh, and this is what I feel it's going to be also very beneficial for you to share, perhaps with
Mm-hmm.
those who haven't experienced that yet.
Mm-hmm.
That water feasting is just beyond really supporting the physical body only. That it really
Absolutely.
works on all levels, and it just brings this amazing, beautiful magic to our life. So, would you share a bit more about that, please?
Well, every fast water feast that I did after the first one was really a wonderful experience in every way, even physically for me. It wasn't difficult. And I would say every experience is very magical and blissful. And um, let me see. Um, I would say it's regenerative on every level, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and mentally. Your focus is laser sharp. Like
Yeah.
I've worked when I was fasting, and I work for a chiropractor, and it's a very busy office. Maybe 50, sometimes we see 50 people in 3.5 hours. So
Wow.
it is very multitasking, and it's very intense in a short amount of time. And I used to think I needed that little bit of coffee to do my job, to have that focus. But
Yeah.
water fasting or feasting really trumps that enormously. Like
Hmm.
I can do that job excellently when I'm water feasting because my focus is laser sharp.
Wonderful.
And I'm very present in the moment. So I'm much more aware of everything happening in that exact moment. So that is not even a problem to work when you're water feasting. It's probably not recommended. It's better if you rest, but I did it because those are my circumstances right now. Um, so that's, and you also have a lot of clarity about what's important in life. You know,
Yes.
there's so many areas and so many things pulling us, and it's so much easier to know what things support your own happiness and your own body in the
Yeah. You
moment.
see clearly then.
Yeah, you see much more clearly. And um, I used to say to you, you're that I felt like I was so much kinder to people. And I think that's only because you're right there in the moment as well, and you're
Yes.
connected to yourself and not your mind. And so often when we're busy in life, we're 10 steps ahead of the other person when they're talking. We're
Yes.
impatient, um, we're abrupt. I know I can be because I have such a busy agenda, but when I'm water feasting, I'm listening to every word they say. I'm right there with people. I'm patient. I'm
Yeah.
kinder.
Beautiful.
And yeah, so that is a wonderful experience too. It's sort
Yeah.
of a high. It's sort of a high.
It
It's
is.
challenge. Yeah, I mean, people think that never have water fasted. They're like, wow, you must have such willpower. It doesn't seem to take willpower because you stop being hungry after soon after the first day, maybe even the
Yes.
first day. And you have this beautiful experience, which is doesn't seem to take willpower. Sometimes when I have to stop water feasting because I need to go to work or it's prudent to do so, I don't really want to. I wish I could keep going. Yeah,
Isn't that incredible?
it is. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And so, one of the things that I would do before I started this 90-day detox is if I would shop at Costco, they have all these stations of food sampling, people trying to let you sample the food that Costco sells. And so I would go in there and inevitably I'd always like be tempted to eat something, like maybe a cracker, nothing like meat or anything, but maybe nothing that was that good either. I
Yeah.
can't, yeah, something that was
It
not
was there.
ideal.
It was there available and just inviting. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So after a water feast, if I walk through Costco, none of that looks appealing in any way. Like, you'd have to pay me to taste it, and
Yes.
I still wouldn't.
Yes.
So that's the difference too. Your body just is not attractive to things that aren't supportive to you. You're
Yeah.
naturally
And it knows
attracted.
also, it knows what it wants.
It does. It does definitely know what it wants. It wants juicy fruit and juicy foods, and yeah,
Yes.
and you tune into that and you choose. Yeah,
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's
yeah, it is.
brilliant.
It's a wonderful experience.
Yeah. So you've also shared that this is what you are just planning, like just feeling how this is going to evolve for you further. Obviously, there's no need to predict a plan because
Mhm.
life is really to explore and experience. But it's just the
Mhm.
way you feel, really, how supportive, how empowering it is. Like
Very much so.
it really brings this magic to your life, like in all aspects of life.
It does. It is beyond words, and I just touched upon the surface. Life just does seem magical. There's
Yeah.
so much synchronicity happening, things that just show up magically that you are hoping for, that you're interested in.
They
Um,
come your way simply.
they just come your way. You don't have to work. I really, truly, I have so much more enthusiasm for life. I have so much more energy, so much more joy. Um, I think prior to doing the 90-day detox, I was more tired. I couldn't wait to getting everything accomplished seemed like a job, so I could hurry up and watch TV in
Oh,
the evening and relax. I don't need to do that at all anymore. I don't even watch TV anymore. So it
incredible.
it is beyond words, really. It's something that you need to experience to see the magic of
Totally.
it. Hmm.
Totally. Yeah. There is no, and I totally agree with this. It's like words cannot really convey this. Like we cannot really explain because
Hmm.
it is something so profound,
Hmm.
um,
So true.
so so magical that we can only really experience this. There is simply no other way.
Hmm.
So this was really the main reason why I asked you to share your experience, because
Hmm.
the way you experienced and the way you are experiencing it now, like the whole experience, it just shows in a beautiful way that it is possible for everyone to experience,
Hmm.
to really implement this in just our daily lifestyle, like really paying attention to what we eat, how we eat, how much the body really needs, what is really supportive, and all the aspects that you've shared, that
Hmm.
even offering our system just that one day of break, it's extremely supportive. So we really want to
Absolutely.
invite you, like if you only can, if it really resonates with you, maybe offer yourself that experience, like at least one day of supporting your body with just having that break and just resting. Like even that would
Yes.
be great. Just take,
Yes.
yeah, full psychological rest, like from everything, and just be the priority, really, at least on that day,
Yes.
to support yourself. So, Marianne, thank you so much
You're
for
so
being
welcome.
here. I so appreciate that you are so open and you are sharing your experience, because I really feel this is so valuable, but also so inspiring and so empowering, coming actually this from you, because I can only share from my experience, but that's just one experience. But having
Hmm.
you living in a completely different part of the world and just living a different lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
It's just absolutely incredible that you are sharing your experience. So I'm really grateful for that, and
Thank
I
you.
really, really appreciate you. And I'm really, you know, just saying, big thank you for
You're welcome.
even living that lifestyle, for just
Mm-hmm.
being so present, so supportive, because whenever we do this to ourselves, we are actually doing this for everyone around. We are really doing this for entire planet, because
Mm-hmm.
the energy we feel, we vibrate, the energy we send, it just gets expanded. It gets bigger
Mm-hmm.
and bigger, and comes back also to us. But that's what we share with the world.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing that beautiful, empowering energy, and thank you for being here. So thank you so much again, Marianne. And I just wish you all the very best, all the beautiful love, light that we are. Just be that, experience that and
Mm-hmm.
share that.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much. And I will share maybe in the info before, if you want to join and experience the 90-day holistic detox program, how you can join, how you can also participate. So thank you so much, Marianne, and all my very best to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kasha. I want to say that it's wonderful when you do have your first fasting experience to have a coach or somebody that you can rely on. And it was really wonderful to have you guide me
Thank
through
you.
my first one back, and I appreciate that so much. I wouldn't have done it without you. It's been so wonderful. Thank you so much, Kasha.
Thank you. Thank you, Marianne. Yes,
You're welcome.
that's a very important point that you've just shared, that I really wouldn't recommend to do this on your own if you don't have any experience. Like even
Hmm.
going for one day, I would still either research or just join someone who can actually guide you
Absolutely.
and support you. And the longer you go, the more important it is actually that supervision. So
Absolutely.
it is very important. So thank you, Marianne.
You're welcome.
I'm so glad it worked for you. It supported
Yes.
you. And now you see you are like an expert.
I don't know about that, but I really enjoy water fasting, and I'll be doing it Sunday.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
wonderful. I'm so looking forward to
Yes.
that too.
Me too.
Yeah, so thank you so
Okay.
much.
You're
And
welcome.
I look really forward to connecting with you and just sharing more of your experience in other areas, perhaps.
Yes.
So
We'll
hopefully
see what happens.
exactly. Let's see what happens next
Yes.
and what life is gonna come up with.
Yes.
Yeah, so thank
Great.
you and all the very best. Bye
You
bye.
too, Kasha. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Marianne. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.